So what is bonus depreciation? Businesses that have eligible expenses on the eligibility list for 100% bonus depreciation can now take these expenses in year one. So why does this matter? This matters because this will improve cash flow. This will improve business growth. This will improve business trajectory of the growth to get even faster and more up to the right. And at the end of the day, this is bipartisan, meaning it's unlikely that this is going to go away in the future because both parties want to incentivize and grow the economy at this stage. If you look at everything, especially in the manufacturing sector, which Biden had the CHIPS Act to support, and then Trump has been touting over and over and over that he wants to bring back manufacturing to the US, this bill goes very nicely with the goals that both parties have of boosting businesses on US soil. So what is bonus depreciation at its core? Well, let's talk straight line depreciation first so you understand it. Straight line depreciation, which is the classic way and the historical way of writing off things for a business, took the useful life of that asset that was purchased, that expense, and split the cost of it over that many years. So if it was a 15-year lifetime, for instance, then that good could be written off over 15 years. So it was X amount that you paid divided by 15. That was your annual write-off for that asset. In this case, what bonus depreciation allows you to do is take that 15 years worth of write-offs and move it to year one. So it's a huge tax break, and you can always carry that forward from that point on if you don't need that whole write-off in the first year. So what assets are included in this? This is where it gets interesting specifically for investors, which is the majority of our community. This includes things like equipment, machinery, and updates to buildings, improvements to buildings. Now, so what kind of assets can you write off here? That's really kind of the juice of this. This includes a lot, actually. This includes vehicles for business use. This includes machinery. This includes equipment. And most importantly, for real estate investors, this includes a vast majority of interior and even a lot of exterior improvements to buildings. So specifically for investors in real estate, this allows a massive tax write-off opportunity to now be attached to property investing. So in the past, you had the benefit of appreciation. In the past, you had the benefit of cash flow along the way for many investments. Now, we also can see that a huge tax advantage is back on the plate with this 100% bonus depreciation in play. The reality is this is actually not that new. We saw this in 2017 when Trump put his TCJA, the Trump tax cuts, if you want to think of it from kind of what was spouted in the news. This created 100% bonus depreciation in 2017. But the TCJA actually sunset these over a handful of years. So we saw these starting from 2018 to 2022 with 100% bonus depreciation and then ticking down all the way to 2027. What the big, beautiful bill actually did was take that 100% bonus depreciation and make it permanent. So this is now in the future. So not only do businesses have the advantage of taking that 100% bonus depreciation and taking that full write-off in year one, but now they can plan on that in the future and add some stability, not just to their businesses, but the benefit to the government when they're collecting taxes is they can see in the future more stable write-offs. They understand what the write-off and the impact to expected tax revenues is also going to be. So this is really a win for both sides and even for the IRS so that they understand the impacts and can project into the future. So look, there's a huge write-off, which will have huge impacts and have huge dollar figures behind it. How much of a write-off did we see historically companies take? Because I think that's probably a pretty good way to gauge this. So the immediate impact of those 2017 tax cuts were that businesses wrote off roughly $1.25 trillion of depreciable assets. Now that sounds like a lot, and that might sound very scary that we're not receiving that tax revenue, but the reality is this isn't changing how much you can write off or how much a business can write off or how much a real estate investment can be written off. This changes the amount that can be written off per year. So if you write off, let's say $1 million in vehicles, then that $1 million in vehicle write-offs, instead of being split over X amount of years, is now still received in the first year, but it's the same dollar figure. So that $1.25 trillion roughly that businesses wrote off in 2018 would have been still depreciated and would not have been collected, but it's just front loaded to the same year. But most importantly, what's the point? Why are we doing this? Why are we giving all these tax write-offs and changing the tax code? Because it has a huge impact on our economy. Gross domestic product, that's the measure of our economy, GDP, is expected to grow by over 0.5% per year by giving businesses access to better write-offs alone. This is staggering. And when you think about our economy being almost 30 trillion, 0.5% is a really big deal. That represents a huge amount of growth on US soil for US businesses that both parties want. So who are the big winners here? First, big winners are going to be the businesses on US soil that have a lot of assets, a lot of hard assets, a lot of things that they must depreciate. So think about especially the trades. This is a big win for construction. This is a big win for utilities. This is a big win for industries that are the backbone of the US. They can now write off their trucks, their manufacturing equipment, their heavy machinery, etc. All of that can now be written off in year one. So those companies, those businesses are getting a huge windfall there. The second biggest winner is going to be real estate investing, because this incentivizes investors to be able to invest more in properties, invest more in infrastructure projects, etc., so that they can get that write-off in year one. And the last big winner here is going to be the US economy, something that is more sustainable over a period of time, with write-offs, with businesses being able to count on that if they invest in their business with more machinery, more equipment, and better supplies, better vehicles, etc., that they get the benefit of it immediately. They don't have to wait. This will incentivize growth. This will have more sustainable growth over a long period of time. And if the projections are met, we should see a huge boom for the GDP, which really makes us all a more wealthier nation with more money coming in on the tax side net. Most importantly, what can you do about it? If you're an investor and you're looking to invest in real estate, now is an amazing time to use real estate to be writing off some of your high income or things along the way that you want to take advantage of and reduce your tax burden at the end of that year. So if you're real estate curious, now is a great time to start looking at projects to invest in and some opportunities to take advantage of, because you will get a massive tax benefit at the end of that investment. All right, guys, I'll catch you later. We're doing a lot more of ongoing updates for things like the economy, investing strategy, and other things we're seeing out there that would impact our investment community and the wider community that we get to work with. So keep in touch on our videos. I'll see you on the next one.